Hi students, welcome to lesson number 3, Casteism. The rising trends of casteism and the violence has created a feeling of suspicion and insecurity among various castes. People in high positions in a caste and subcaste in appointments and promotions creates the caste solidarity to the extent that 1. One caste attempts to dominate over other. 2. Higher caste exploits the lower caste. 3. Elections are contested and won on basis of caste. And 4. Intercaste conflicts increase in society. Though casteism, intercaste conflicts and incidents of caste violence are more prevalent in rural areas, yet they occur in the urban areas as well. The objectives of the lesson are: 1. To learn the meaning of casteism. 2. To understand the intensity of the problem of casteism. 3. To know the causes of casteism. 4. To know why it is an obstacle of development. In India, on one hand, the caste is becoming weaker due to the influence of such factors as the industrialization, urbanization, increase in the means of transportation, popularity of English education, political and social awakening, democratic government and laws abolishing untouchability, etc. And on the other such new organizations as labor unions, etc. on the basis of occupation, post capacity are being established due to an increase in the desire for money caused by the influence of Western education. The sense of superiority or inferiority is now based on wealth and social power rather than on caste. The caste consciousness based on occupations is replacing the class consciousness. All these changes led people to believe that the caste system will generally take on the form of a class system. But while on the one hand class consciousness seems to be progressing, on the other one can see progress in casteism as well. For people are specially gifted in a particular occupation, other occupations are very limited in India and the paths to those that are available are closed. Children of those parents who have a small income or who have no wealth look out only for service. Most commonly in the biggest business institutions and sometimes even in educational institutions, what happens is that the people who are employed in various posts belong to caste of the properties, organizers and senior officials. Casteism of a similar type of people who are employed in various posts belongs to the caste of proprietors, organizers and senior officials. Casteism of a similar type prevails also in government services and political elections. Hence, it cannot be asserted that at the present time caste is being destroyed and classism being asserted at that the present time caste is being transformed into classism. It is difficult to make an unqualified statement concerning the future of the caste system. It is certainly true that the restrictions of marriage, diet, mode of life, behavior, etc. based on the caste system are breaking down. But as has been described previously, casteism is increasing and caste system is being encouraged by some political and social factors. Actually, it seems more or less definite that there is no possibility of the caste system being eliminated from the Indian society in the near future. The root of the caste system goes deep in Hindu society, and as it is basis on the important and beneficial principles of division of labor, specialization, etc., foreign invaders made their best efforts to wipe out the Hindu caste. But in spite of all efforts, the Muslims and Christians, not much change was brought in the caste system. It has definitely been affected somewhat by the influence of Western education and culture, and its form has undergone a vast change further in future. It may even change beyond recognition. It will also be influenced by the development of the sense of democracy and nationalism. industrial progress and by new political and economic movement. The meaning of casteism. Let's look into the meaning of casteism. Casteism is partial or one-sided loyalty in favor of a particular caste. When any mode of thinking assumes the form of casteism, it becomes rigid and partial. In the sense of caste, it implies a specific status in society does not pertain to casteism. The sense of caste and the tendency to consider the interest of one's own caste as opposed to the other caste are attached to it. In this manner, the members of one caste, if the interests of their own caste are furthered in so doing, it is necessary to define casteism as its form and nature are to be clearly and precisely understood. According to one view, casteism is loyalty to the subcaste. In this way, it is only because of casteism that the Smiths want to benefit only the Smiths, while the Johnnists want to come to the aid of other Johnnesses. It matters little if the members of the other caste are irreparably harmed, if it does not cause any concern to the Smiths and Johnnists. But casteism is apparent also in the form of loyalty to the caste translated into politics. In this way, caste has been dragged into political arena in the forms of casteism, such as Brahminvada and Kayasthavada. Thus, it has been called blind group loyalty. This opinion, casteism, is the blind and consequently irrational loyalty to the community. In this, all considerations of proper or improper, justice or injustice are thrown to winds in the face of the interest of one's own caste, and these must be achieved. Casteism, therefore, is an overriding, blind and supreme group loyalty that ignores the healthy social standards of justice, fair play, equity and universal brotherhood. In this way, then putting it briefly, casteism is a blind group loyalty towards one's caste or subcaste, which does not care for the interest of other caste and seeks to realize the social, economic, political and other interest of its own group. This definition of casteism includes all the preceding definitions of the concept and tends to clarify further the political aspect of casteism. In independent India, competition among different castes seems to be the normal situation. With the passing of political power to the people, castes have become pressure group and are competing for power and using power to benefit caste fellows. Many examples are cited in this regard. In 1950s, there was a case of a state in which a Reddy chief minister appointed a large number of Reddys as ministers. In one state, a Jain officer gave preference to Jains and Rajput officer to Rajputs in all appointments. This tendency increases not only hatred for other castes, but also leads to caste conflicts in the country. Such conflicts abound in Bihar, UP, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Gujarat and Maharashtra. When one caste numerically preponderates over other caste in one geographical area, it seeks the position of a dominant caste by attempting to secure economic and political power. When a caste enjoys one form of dominance, it is frequently able to acquire the other forms as well in course of time. Casteism creates such solidarity among members that they use their unity to assert themselves or exploit the deprived caste. The best examples of this nature are found in Bihar among Bhumihars, Yadavs, Kurims, Dalits, etc. In politics, since last few decades, casteism factor has been playing an important role even in the selection of candidates for contesting elections. In seeking votes also, this factor is played upon heavily. The National Integration Council, set up in June 1962, has been striving to deal with problems of casteism, regionalism and communalism. The council set up in 1968 separate committees to deal with these problems, all these committees produced worthy recommendations focusing on guidelines, legislation and administrative action. By 1970, all this lapsed into an inaction. In 1980, the second incarnation of the National Integration Council met in 1980 and again in 1984. This time also 3 subcommittees were set up, but they too failed to do anything substantial. The September 1986 meeting set up a subgroup of 5 persons to foster national integration. In February 1990 and again in 1991 and July 1993 came yet another incarnation of the NIC, but no solution has been evolved till date on the burning problem of containing casteism and communalism and creating national harmony. Rural people pass through a series of problems which affect their survival and quality of life. The problems of the rural poor throughout the country appear to be common. However, the intensity of these problems also varies due to the family size, employment status, ownership of various resources, socio-economic background and religious beliefs. These restrictions need to be taken into consideration while proposing suitable solutions for tackling the problems of rural development. Fortunately, the Government of India has been giving top priority to rural development and tackling its social problems. Casteism is one of the rural social problems which is very peculiar to Indian society. Indian society is a country of various religions. Each religion is subdivided into different castes and these castes again into subcaste. The culture of each caste varies, though they all belong to one religion. Among these castes, certain are given a high status and others a low status depending upon their caste occupation. In such a society, there is every possibility for caste conflicts to occur. These conflicts have their origin in casteism, which refers to the hatred of one caste by the other, or the attempts made by the members of one caste to gain personal advantages to the detriment of interest of the other caste members. In brief, casteism refers to one-sided loyalty in favor of a particular caste. Casteism leads to the members of one caste to exploit the members of other caste for their own vested interest in the name of superiority or inferiority. According to R.N. Sharma, casteism is a blind group loyalty towards one's own caste or subcaste which does not care for the interest of other caste and seeks to realize the social, economic, political and other interest of its own group. According to D.N. Prasad, casteism is loyalty to caste translated into politics. It is an overriding, blind and supreme group loyalty that ignores the healthy social standards of justice, their play, equality and universal brotherhood. Casteism is considered as a social problem as it disturbs the sound governmental politics and democracy and paves the way for mutual group conflicts. Casteism is manifested in form of clashes between various castes for higher share in the socio-economic privileges and power. Now, let us discuss the causes of casteism. The causes of casteism are various. Some of them are as follows. 1. The most important cause of casteism is the desire of a particular group tends to improve the status of its own caste. Casteism increases in order to achieve such status. The members even adopt the most improper methods to enhance the prestige of their caste. In doing so, no wrong in adopting even the most downgraded and deleterious methods. But the prestige of the caste can be maintained only on the ground that every opportunity be availed of in order to improve the social status of members. In order to achieve this objective, every caste provides its members with all possible privileges in order to raise their social status. This tends to increase casteism. 2. The second cause that encouraged the development of casteism is the restriction on marriage that prevails in Hindu society. Under the caste system, the restrictions that apply to marriage turn every caste into a monogamous group in which each individual looks upon himself as related in some way to all the others, and for this reason everyone pays proper attention to the interest of others. The endogamy rules of marriage within the group is another factor. Under the caste system, which allows casteism to perpetuate, such restrictions placed on marriage forces an individual to marry within his own caste group, which brings about cohesion within the group, thereby increasing casteism. Third, with the advent of the tendency of urbanization, it becomes possible for all castes to collect in large numbers in towns. At the same time, the lives of members of various castes became beset with problems, as a result of which it became necessary to provide security for them on a communal basis. Casteism is spreading because of the necessity to fulfill this need of security. The feelings of caste were easily carried through the members from rural areas to urban areas through migration. 4. Easy access to the means of transport and communication is other factor which contributes to the growth of casteism. The members of the same caste who were previously not much in touch with each other are now able to establish intimate relationships. The spread of feeling of casteism became easy through mass media such as newspapers, magazines, etc. Let us discuss the impact of casteism on society. The impact of casteism on society is severe. Right from the individual to the whole nation, it affects the society as a whole. Some of the ill effects of casteism are as follows. 1. Casteism perpetuates the practice of untouchability and becomes an obstacle in providing social equality and justice. 2. Casteism proves to be a threat to social order, stability, peace and harmony in the society. 3. Prevalence of casteism shows that the people are tradition bound, conservative and orthodox in thinking. It may cause a hurdle to the upliftment of women because of lack of encouragement from caste conscious groups. 4. Casteism divides society into different segments and results in conflicts and tensions and between these segments. These continuous conflicts and tensions between various segments hinder the development of the nation and growth of nationalism. 5. Casteism results in political disunity and affects the smooth and successful functioning of multi-party democracy like India. 6. Casteism indirectly can be the cause of corruption. Members of a caste try to give all facilities to the person who are from their own caste, and in doing so they do not hesitate to involve in the most corrupt activities. 7. Casteism has become an instrument in the hands of political leaders. Many political leaders during elections try to procure votes on caste basis rather than their own capacities and capabilities. This results in election of underserving candidates who do not hesitate to promote their own caste interest at the cost of common good. Thus, casteism proves to be a hindrance to democracy. 8. Because the appointment in government and private services is done on the basis of caste, there seems to be a continuing increase in the number of inefficient and worthless people. Merit and efficiency may not be given importance if appointments to various positions both in the public and private sectors are based on caste considerations. This results in hindering the technology and industrial efficiency. 9. It also becomes an obstacle in achieving social mobility. 10. Casteism sometimes leads to religious conversions, especially among the low caste groups who are not financially sound. Other cause for such conversions is that certain unbearable exploited conditions arise out of dominance of certain caste groups over other caste groups. Let us discuss the solutions to the problem of casteism. Till now, we have discussed about the ill effects of casteism. Then what could be done in order to eliminate or minimize the problems of casteism? Some of the solutions for the problem arising of casteism to some extent. 1. The greatest need for a solution of the problem of casteism is proper education. Providing value based education to children from childhood can solve the problem of casteism to some extent. 2. Various social agencies like family, school and mass media must be given the responsibility to develop a proper broad outlook among children which will negate the feelings of casteism. For example, creating awareness about the ill effects of perpetuating the traditional caste system. 3. The literary programs must be taken up in rural areas as the caste feelings which further perpetuate casteism are more in rural areas. These feelings of casteism can be minimized by the provision of social education among rural population. 4. By encouraging intercaste marriages, the feelings arising out of casteism can be minimized as these marriages bring two families of different caste closer to each other. 5. Provision of cultural and economic equality among different sections of the society reduces the chances of jealousy and competition. Thus, economic and cultural equality is important in eliminating casteism. Mahatma Gandhi has compared caste to the appendix in the human body. As long as it continues to enjoy health, it serves its purpose, but when it becomes diseased, the only cure is to eliminate it, because if it is not removed, it poses a threat to the existence of the entire organism. In this way, it is opined by some people that this conflict can be eliminated from democracy only when the caste system is completely removed from it. According to R.N. Sharma, different scholars have suggested different views and solutions for the problems and conflicts arising out of casteism. Some of them are as follows. According to G.S. Ghurye, the conflict originating in casteism can be removed by encouraging intercaste marriages. Co-education should be introduced at the primary level, and boys and girls should be given the opportunity to come together. This will lead to improvement of behavior between different sexes simultaneously, with which casteism will be actively refuted. 2. According to Dr. 𝗪𝗏, in order to put an end to casteism and to deprive it of its very basis, the creation of some optional groups is necessary through which the communal tendencies of individual can be manifested and organized. As these increase, casteism decreases. The individuals will have the chance to express their instincts and motives outside the caste. 3. According to Mrs. 𝗬𝗏 Karve, in order to put an end to the conflicts arising out of casteism, it is necessary to create economic and cultural equality between the caste. 4. Professor P. N. Prabhu is of the opinion that the conflicts created by casteism can be ended only when the internal aspects of conduct are influenced. For this, it is necessary to try and develop new attitudes in the people. The idea of caste is deep rooted among the people of India, as it has strong foundation in our society. The problems arising out of casteism cannot be easily wiped off and may take years. The form of caste system must be changed in order to meet the nation's development. The government and non-governmental agencies should make efforts to achieve this kind of change in our society, through which we can eliminate caste system. A strong and tremendous revolution is needed to get rid of it. Hence, as long as the society is not prepared to change the system and to adopt some other social order in its place, it is best to confine one to corrections and improvements. The notion of caste has been existent in Indian society for almost thousands of years. Today, it has become an impediment for the progress of country. It is necessary to change its form in order to ensure the development of national sentiment and the progress and success of democracy in the country. But this cannot be achieved in a matter of few years. For this, it is necessary to determine the extent to which caste system should be developed, and then all government and non-governmental sources in the country should be employed for the achievement of that level of development. The first step would be to remove the idea of caste discrimination from the minds of the future generation. Co-education will encourage intercaste marriages. Further, the idea of eliminating words that indicate caste form names should also be propagated and made popular. Caste committees and associations should be prevented legally, and the government should prevent appointments being made to post on the basis of caste, whether in government or non-government organizations. In this way, it is necessary to make efforts directions for improvement of this horizon.